What's up guys, Nuruddin again from lotusflyanimation. Today I'm going to be sharing my experience of how I made this cinematic animation. So let's get started.
Your lotusflyanimation.
The first thing I did was to create the character Nemesis. I made this character over 6 or 7 years ago. And over time, I have been iterating on the design. I even had a colleague of mine, Erimusu, update the design for me. And this is the final design we have now. This updated design was probably done about 4 years ago. And ever since, I've kept the design the way it looks like. Nemesis is a villain in the overall arcing story of my universe called the Jagabaan. And Nemesis is a bounty hunter that is sent to search and capture the Jagabaan. The Nemesis is a bio-cybernetic organism. It's created by an evil scientist called Birok Batuk. That's a long story that I'm going to talk about another time. Once the character has been modeled, the next thing I did was to rig the character in Maya using advanced skeleton, give it a range of controls. When I have time later, I want the character to have like rocket boosters coming out of the hands. But for this production, I just wanted to keep it simple and straightforward. The next thing I did was to animate the character. This animation was probably done about early this year. That's when I made this animation, but I never really finished it. It was like a project that I worked on and I abandoned it. So I felt like this is an opportunity for me to finish the project and render it out. My brother, Tahir Mamodu, actually started out blocking the animation, but because of time and scheduling conflict, I had to take the animation and finish it and polish it. And this is the final animation we have today. Now, when I was animating this character, there was no environment. I didn't have any environment in it. I just animating and coming up with concepts and ideas in my head for it. Now, when I wanted to render it out, I thought about it like, why don't I try using one of these AI tools, which is Runway ML, and then I imputed just the play blast, that's the video without an environment, to try to prompt in a background. And I had a couple of versions, but none of them were good. So to me, I felt like, the technology was not yet there. So I went back and I decided, I'm going to get an environment. I'm going to place an environment in the scene and then do some cinematic lighting. So what I did for the environment, because of time and I did not want to go start from scratch or modeling environments, which is something I usually don't do anymore, I went to the Kitbash website and they have this Kitbash, which is actually free. I got it and then I just placed and arranged the scene in Maya. So before I started with the lighting, the first thing I needed to address was the color palette. So what colors did I want the lights to have? Also the mood, what kind of feel that when you watch it, what kind of feel is it going to give you? And lastly, the time of day. I made sure to pay attention to my composition and also the rule of third, all the cinematic rules. I tried to abide by some of them. So when that was done, then I took the character and the animation, exported that to Enrol engine. And this is where I did the cinematic lighting. I did not have a reference for this lighting, but I knew that I wanted it to be a night shot. And then I wanted the moon to be at the background, illuminating the character from back, giving it a nice rim light. So what I did was to first of all have that light from the back. I just created an area light to simulate rim light at the back. And when that was done, the next thing I focused on was to first of all light the character. So I had like a key light, which is a little bit orange in color, and then I had like a green light to this other side, and then animate the green light flickering. I just did a couple of lights there, and then when that was done, then I also now just lit the environment slightly, because my focus for this one was not really on the environment, it was a character. So most of my lighting was focused on the character. We just had like a basic light that was illuminating the whole environment, but my focus was on the character. I wanted to get that cinematic light and I wanted my shadows to be dark. And I really just love lighting in the darkness. I feel like it gives it more texture, it gives your pictures more texture. And that was the idea I was going for this. And when I was done lighting my environment, lighting the whole shot, I rendered it out. After rendering that out, I brought it to After Effects to join it and composite it together. When that was done, I took that whole thing, the video itself, to Premiere Pro. The first thing I wanted was to have my logo, lotusflyanimation, show at the end, but I wanted a voiceover. So I went to 11 Lab, I have a subscription with them, and then just typed in the lotusflyanimation, we are lotusflyanimation, and used like a robot villain kind of voice to get what I wanted, which was what you can hear.
Pure lotusfly animation.
So I had that, I brought that into Premiere Pro. Now, the place I spent a lot of time was in the sound effects. So I have a bundle that I bought a couple of years ago for sound effects, and that's what I use for this. And I just layered the different ones, starting from the foot walk on the floor, and then to the flying, the jetpack, the shooting, and then the landing. And I put everything together. Basically, I spent a couple of hours, like say about 5 or 6 hours, just trying to, make sure I get the sound effects. And then I added a background music at the end, which is the soundtrack for the Jagabaan, my proof of concept I created about 6 years ago. When you watch the final thing, it gives you the cinematic essence. Also, I wanted to make an announcement that my course for cinematic lighting is going to get started. This is first of all going to be like a cohort where I have a bunch of students, and I'm just going to be taking them and teaching them about lighting, cinematic lighting to be precise, because I feel like it makes or breaks your work. You could have fantastic animation, but if you don't know how to present it with good lighting, your work is going to fall short. I'm going to kickstart early January. So if this is something you're interested, make sure to leave it in the comment section. By the way, if you haven't watched my proof of concept, I made it like about 6 years ago. I'll leave it in the description box there. Check it out and tell me if you want me to develop it. It was actually an idea I created about 6 years ago. It was just a proof of concept because I didn't have funding to push it. But I have most of the characters. I have some stories here and there that I still need to flesh out. So if you like it, please check it out in the description box. And also, if you haven't watched my short film, it's on the Mutuku story. I'm also going to leave it in the description box. Check it out as well. Make sure to like, make sure to share. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to also be dropping more behind the scenes. And if there's anything you want me to talk about animation or the business of animation or what it takes to have longevity in this kind of career, please leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to read and make a video about it. I'll see you guys again in the next one. Bye.